Arkansas ranks second in aquaculture producing states. It leads in production of bait fish or live fish bought by anglers as bait for recreational and sport fishing, largemouth bass for stocker fish, hybrid striped bass, and Chinese carp. It is third nationally in catfish production. Catfish farming in the United States began in Arkansas in the late 1950s when several farmers caught catfish from rivers, stocked ponds with them, fed them, and sold them through local fish markets.
Arkansas is one of the leading catfish producing states in the United States. Many of the leaders of the catfish industry are here in Arkansas. The catfish industry is a major component of the economy of Arkansas. The major catfish species that's raised in Arkansas and throughout the United States is the channel catfish. The scientific name is Ictalurus punctatus. That's the major species. A few people are working with a hybrid that's a cross between the channel and the blue catfish, but primarily what is raised commercially is the channel catfish. The basic production cycle of the channel catfish starts in a hatchery. The eggs are collected from ponds, they're brought into a hatchery, hatched out. When they're usually about 2 weeks old, they're put back into ponds as fry that are very, very small. By the end of the summer, they're about 4 to 6 inches in length. At that time, they're called a fingerling. They're fed some over the winter, but then the next spring, these fingerlings are put into grow-out ponds. They're typically stocked at about 6,000, 7,000 fingerlings per acre. Within about 18 months after stocking the fingerlings, those fish are ready to go to market, usually at a size of about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds. That's when they're ready to be harvested and taken to the processing plant. The fish are fed a floating pelleted feed. That way it's easy for the farmer to see how much the fish are eating when they come to the surface to feed on the pelleted feed. And the process, basically, the farmer uses a blower feeder that's attached to the tractor. The tractor pulls the feeder along. The blower then blows the feed out onto the pond. Most of these blowers are equipped with electronic scales, so the farmer can tell exactly how much feed is being fed on any given day. On a catfish farm, the process of seining and harvesting catfish requires quite a lot of equipment. A commercial catfish pond is typically about 10 acres in size. The way they're harvested is that catfish farmers have a net called a seine. The seine has a mud line on the bottom that has weights on it, so it stays down on the bottom of the pond. The top part of the seine has floats that keep the seine floating at the top. So the seine is pulled through the water by tractors on either side. The tractors are traveling along the levees of the ponds. It pulls the seine through the pond. The back of the seine actually has a hole in it. It's called the throat of the seine that is tied off until they're ready to bring the fish in. At that time, they'll attach a separate kind of a net that's like a net cage, like a net pen that's hooked onto the back of the seine. As the seine is pulled through the pond, the fish feel that pressure. They move along the side of the seine, go through the throat opening at the back of the seine, and into the net pen that's also referred to as a sock. So by the time they travel the entire length of the levee, all of the fish are in this net pen cage that's referred to as a sock, and they're contained, they're caught there then. Farmers typically will catch anywhere from 30 to 50 or 60,000 pounds of fish in these net pens or net socks that are used to hold the fish. The mesh size along the side is set so that the smaller fish will move out and go back into the pond. So they may catch 50, 60,000 pounds of fish. The small ones will grade back out into the pond, leaving about 30 to 40,000 pounds of fish that are then loaded out onto a truck to take to the processing plant.
Each year, UAPB sponsors Aquatic Sciences Day for high school students. High school students can experience a fun and educational day of biology, chemistry, engineering, mathematics, and nutrition through hands-on activities related to aquaculture and fisheries in an outdoor setting. This is also a great opportunity to learn about careers and education in the field of aquaculture and fisheries.
Well, we have produced some pretty famous folks. What is the name of that guy that came from Hope? Bill, I believe it's Bill Clinton, yes. He is a native of Hope, of course. His mother's family actually came out of Nevada County, but from where they lived, if you're going to move to town and to the bright lights, the closest town was Hope. And so they moved to Hope, and he was born there and remained there about the first 7 years of his life. Mr. Huckabee is also from Hope. There are a lot of Huckabees in the Hope area and down around Spring Hill. There's a Huckabee cemetery down there, in fact. And we've got some pop culture figures too from the area. Patsy Montana, who was popular back in the 30s. She was a singer. And of course, let's not forget Glenn Campbell from Delight, Arkansas. Very rich history, and much of it untouched.